Do you think it is possible for someone like me coming from like absolute zero to get to, like 100,000,
Oh,
200,000,
a
300,000
hundred percent. A
on
hundred
LinkedIn?
percent. You started a couple weeks ago. How many followers did you have then?
I think I started with like 2,500 or something.
Yeah, so
So it's
you've
gone up.
already had 1,000. So the first month it could be an increase in like 3,000. The second month could be 5,000. The third month it could double or it could go to 7,000. But all you need is one post out of however many to go viral. And that could get you another 5,000 in a month. For you, breaking down the numbers, definitely within the year hit over 100,000.
I got to 100,000 in like 5.5 months. And that was like outside my realm of even understanding that that was even possible. I was just trying to make it to 10K, but you do have to want it.
Maria Malik. She's a corporate speaking coach for introverted leaders. She's someone who I have personally seen grow over the last 18 months and just really flourish. But she's also someone who I have seen put in a lot of work.
Maria is a role model of what can happen to someone who takes LinkedIn seriously. You had great results, and I'm so excited to, in our conversation today, hear what that was.
Thank you, Shanee, for having me. Super excited for this.
Before we get into any of this, I want to read something. This is really what got Maria on the map, exploded her growth, and not just in terms of LinkedIn, but really she got a lot of opportunities out of this. So I'm going to read it, and then we could talk about how we got to this post and what doors were open for you after, and then also how your life has changed and sacrifices. Maria posted, and this was a year and change ago. I was 17 years old when I was forced into an arranged marriage. My parents thought they were doing what was best for me, even though I knew this was not what I wanted. I stayed silent. I'm an introvert. I didn't want to make my parents upset. Because I didn't use my voice, I was sent to Pakistan and married off to a man I did not know. I was away from home, Canada, where I was born. I was away from friends. I felt trapped. I felt alone. And worst of all, I felt like this was my fate. Throughout all this, I had lost my confidence. 2 years later, I returned to Canada to visit my family. I decided I was going to graduate from high school. I was going to tell my parents I no longer wanted to be married. It took a lot of guts for me to stand up for myself. I got a lot of backlash from my parents and even worse from the Pakistani community. But I finally started speaking up. I explained that I was very unhappy. I explained that getting an education was important to me. I explained that I didn't want to be just a wife. I wanted to be somebody. It took years, but eventually my parents understood and knew it had been a terrible mistake, me getting married at 17. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, I got divorced. I graduated from high school. I then graduated from university. I became the first woman in my family to get a job. I became the first woman in my family to travel the world. I eventually met and married the man of my dreams. I'm now completing my master's degree. I became the first woman in my family to start my own business. Looking back, my biggest regret was that I didn't use my voice when I should have. That is why I now help people get over the fear of public speaking so they can have the confidence to speak too. Because the only way to get what you want in life is to use your voice.
There it is.
It takes a lot of guts to share something like that on social media.
Mm-hmm. It really does, especially being a Pakistani. And this is something I never talked about. Even some of my closest friends didn't know about this because I just didn't feel comfortable talking about it. And even my family, they're like, it's very taboo to talk about this stuff. You just kind of brush it under the rug and hope that it never happened or pretend like it never happened and just move on with your life. That's what you're expected to do. So yeah, it is. It's very difficult talking about it.
And what happened when you posted this?
Essentially, I guess when I was posting at the time, I was getting maybe like 300-400 views on average, and I'm like, okay, if 300-400 people see this on LinkedIn, it's okay. They don't really know who I am. No worries. First of all, just writing that post, I was crying the whole time. I was just like, I didn't even fathom like everything I had done, everything I had accomplished until I sat down and wrote the entire thing. And when I was posting it, my heartbeat was just like, oh my God. But I'm like, it's okay. It's 300-400 people. No worries. Posted it and 20 million views. And it was like, oh crap. I was freaking out. I turned everything off and I went into bed and I would just like put my blanket on. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Let's pretend this isn't going bad.
I was like, oh shit, what do I do? I'm sorry. But and then I was like, I have to call my mom because, you know, if she hears it from somebody else, like this, it's gonna be so bad. So I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, oh my gosh, I did something. And my mom, she always knows I'm always doing crazy things. So she's already panicking. She's like, oh God, what did you do now? So I was like, oh, I talked about my story. I posted on LinkedIn. I'm like, it has like so many views. This was the first day I talked to her. It had already gotten maybe like 5-6 million views by then. And she was like, oh, Mario, what did you do? And then she's like, you know what? It's fine. Like, leave it. I'm like, should I delete it? She's like, you know what? It's fine. It's your story. Maybe it's about time you tell your story. So it's okay. So I posted it and I got millions of messages, mostly really good, mostly really good. And what I was not expecting was to hear from other people that had gone through stuff like that, men and women. And I've got so many messages from people saying, hey, my friend went through that. My sister went through that. Thank you so much for talking about this, because it's now given my sister, my brother, my friend hope that, you know what, it's not the end. Because in our culture, if you go through something like that, like a divorce, it's considered like the end for you. It's like, that's it, your life is over. No one's going to marry you. And, you know, you should just go hide in a corner. Where I did the exact opposite. I pushed even harder. I was like, no, I have these goals. I want to achieve them. So it kind of gave people a little bit of hope that that's not the end. And there's so much more you can still accomplish. Like, that doesn't have to be it for you. You can still write your own journey and follow through with it and be successful and be happy about it. It's a part of you. So that was the biggest thing that came out of it. The messages that I got from people. And I just felt like, okay, I'm not alone, because no one talks about it. So you feel like you are alone. But when you hear it from other people and their experiences, and I got paragraphs and paragraphs, and I sat there and read everyone's stories. I even got on the phone with a couple of people that were like, can I please talk to you? Like, I just need to talk to someone about this. And, you know, so it was just the whole, like, when everything happened, it was insane. It was crazy. So many good things came out of it.
How long did it take you to write that post? Because I know that most of us maybe take a minute or two, and I imagine that was a work of like love almost, right?
Yes.
To yourself.
Yes. So what I like to do, essentially, when I sit down and write a post or anything, I just do like a word vomit. Like, everything I'm thinking, I just type, write it out. So I wrote it out. And when I wrote it out, it was pretty much very similar. I did obviously review it after, and I was like, hold on. I sat on it, I think, for at least a week. At least a week I sat on it. I kept reading it. And I know I sent it to Shanee to, like, I'm like, Shanee, what do you think of this? And you messaged me and you're like, oh my God, Maria, what is this?
I was like, this is it. I knew it was going to blow up. I'm like, this is exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah. And so it took it was 2 weeks, I think, almost, before I actually posted it, because it wasn't just the writing. It was a lot of like, okay, should I do this? Is this a good idea? And, you know, but when I did write it, I just adjusted a little bit. And Shanee maybe just told me 1 or 2 lines to adjust. So it really came from my heart. It really came from just exactly how everything happened. And yeah, writing it didn't take too long, but it was just sitting on it, adjusting it just a little bit. That took maybe 2 weeks before I posted it.
And I think that this breaks one of the first myths of LinkedIn, which is only work-related posts or professional posts are going to go viral. And you've gone viral now multiple times. And I always tell people it's the emotional, it's the vulnerable, it's the relatable. And so share about that a little bit, because people are afraid to do this. And you just prove again that being vulnerable, being human is the way to really relate to people.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, everyone on LinkedIn, they're still human beings. So it doesn't matter if you're like, it does matter what you're posting. And the more emotion there is, people are still, they're going to connect with it better. There's just no way around that. It's going to happen regardless.
How, looking back 18 months ago, how has your life, business, confidence, even in yourself, community changed? What's possible for someone in 18 months?
Everything has changed, from my personal life to my confidence to my business to my relationships. I feel like everything has changed, just because talking about this and posting about my personal story, just putting it out there for the world to see. I was so afraid of it, and because it was taboo, but once I let it out, I almost felt fearless after that. Like, okay, this is like my deepest, darkest secret. People know, okay, what now? Nothing. Like I felt like I had nothing to be afraid of after. And I got such good response from people. That's what made it even better. But in terms of this, actually brought me and my family even closer, brought me closer to my friends. And business wise, I think it built a lot of trust with people. And they're like, okay, this is why Maria does what she does. So selling became easier, growing my business became easier. Obviously, you know, it brought in a lot more revenue. Everything just became so much easier. And in 18 months, like I wouldn't even say it was 18 months, I think it was 6 months that my life completely changed. And when I say completely, I mean completely. From where I had that dream, I was like, this is what I want to do. How do I make it happen? How do I make it happen? To 6 months later, I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. Like everything that I wanted, it's coming true. It's happening. And it just became easier and easier from there. And there was no more confusion. What should I do? And now it's like every time I post something or I'm talking about something, I know what the outcome will be somewhat already. So it's just made my life so much easier. And yes, goal wise, I feel like I accomplished every single goal, or I became very close to those 6 months. But then in that year alone, I look back now and I'm like, oh my God, so much changed. Like you could literally go from 0 to 100 in a year.
I'm interested in, after those 6 months or maybe during the 6 months, what opportunities in your business arose that kind of surprised you a little bit, that was linked to that visibility on LinkedIn?
Great question, Shankar. I think one of the biggest things was I did pivot a little bit, because the people that started reaching out to me, I realized these are the people I can actually help. So before, I was kind of helping a broad range of people. I didn't know exactly who I was targeting or who needed my help, but this post attracted the right people to me. So these were people similar to me, people that were introverts, people that were afraid of public speaking, people that also wanted to find their voice, and people that were ambitious and wanted to make it, wanted to keep growing in their career, business, whatever it is. So it attracted the right people to me, and it brought the right people to me. So it was easier for me to help them and for them to get help. And in the end, I feel like it was a win-win for everybody. So in that sense, I think that was the biggest thing. It really helped me hone in on who my audience is, how I can help them, what kind of results I can get for them. And it just brought so much clarity in terms of business and the people that I'm helping.
So one thing that really stands out about you, Maria, is like I knew from the get-go you wanted it bad enough. I think the first question you asked me in a one-on-one, and I have the recording, right? It's like, how long is it going to take me to get to 10,000 followers? I think that was the question. You're like, how fast can I get there? I'm like, I don't know. I think maybe a conservative. I said like 6 months. I think I said 6 months. I said, we could get you there. And you're like, okay, I'll do whatever it takes. Like, and I saw that in you, that you were willing to do whatever it takes. So first question, do you think it's possible to get massive results without wanting it bad enough?
No, I don't think it is. I think you do have to want it bad enough, whatever it is, because I don't think anything comes easy. I do believe in hard work, and I do believe in luck. I believe in all of that, but I think they all have to work together, because I got to 100,000 in like 5.5 months. And that was like outside my realm of even understanding that that was even possible. I was just trying to make it to 10K, but you do have to want it. You have to. I was almost living, eating, breathing LinkedIn and doing every single thing that I could. And I think what also helped me was I gave myself a timeline too. I gave myself, in my mind, I was like 6 months. If I don't make it until 6 months, that's it. I'm going to quit, go get a corporate job. This wasn't for me. And I did not want to do that. That was like, oh my gosh, if I have to go back.
And you'll never have to go to a job.
I was like, if I have to go back in the corporate world, oh my God. And that's what pushed me. I was like, no, because I knew this was possible. You see it, you feel it, like, you know, it's out there. I knew there was so much more possibility, but you have to want it bad enough, because if you don't, then like if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, you know? And I think it's the people that really want it and that put in the work that actually get to it. And I think that's all you really need. You have to want it bad enough. You have to put in the work and get the right help. Those three things, that's like a deathly combo.
Yeah, for sure. And so let's talk about the nothing that we achieve comes without sacrifice. I've had to sacrifice so many hours with even Liv, to get certain results. I've had to sacrifice time with family. I've had to sacrifice friends. What did you have to sacrifice? What were the hardest parts? Because there's so many business owners out there. They're like, I have my dog, I have my family or whatever, and then I want to make it with content, but they're not willing to sacrifice. What was the price of this?
There was a lot. So first of all, that entire year, 1 year, when I say I did not go out, I did not go out. I didn't go to restaurants. I didn't go to any clubs, any lounges, nothing. I was eating at home every day. I was even doing, like, I was having groceries delivered. I would literally wake up and just work. Eventually my friends stopped calling me out. I wasn't seeing family. I didn't even go see my family in Canada, and I used to see them every 6 months. I was like, guys, I can't right now. I was just at home working. But I do think that's me also. I think some people can manage their time better and they don't have to do it that way. But I know myself, I have to really have tunnel vision, and this is it. I stopped going to the gym, which I did put on some weight also, which I'm a little bit, trying to now come back from that. But I did get sick also twice. I got COVID once, and I still tried to work through it. And then I got sick one more time after. My body was exhausted. But when I look back now, it was all worth it. Like, I would do it again in a heartbeat. I would get sick again. I would put on the weight again. I would kill my social life again. Nobody knew where I was one entire year. No one knew where I was. I would not go out. I didn't even have any clothes anymore. I remember all I was wearing was sweats at home, and I just have like a couple of tops for when I'm like on camera and stuff. But yeah, I had to sacrifice a lot. But like I said, it was all worth it. And I would do it again and again and again to get to where I am.
And I love that you say that, because it's true. If you were given a deal, right? Like, you have to stay super focused. You have to sacrifice your friendships. You have to do everything that Maria just said for a year. But you could basically have the business that you once thought was possible for yourself after. You could have a brand. It's just like, if you could sacrifice for a year, imagine what would be possible. And if you're not willing to do it, then, I mean, it's hard to say, but then don't expect those type of results.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, it's just that year. For me, I think it was mostly just those 6 months. After that, I slowly started, traveling a little bit. My sister was getting married, so I went to my sister's wedding, all that. But it was just like, for me, it was really those 6 months. But now it's just so easy. Now I have that social life back. I'm going out more. I'm doing things, and I'm still running my business, and I'm still, like, everything is still good on that end. So it was worth it.
When you mentioned living, eating, and breathing LinkedIn, that stood out to me. What did that mean? Because after you go viral like that, there's responsibility and maintenance that comes with it. And I want people to know what that actually means.
Yeah, I'm still not perfect with it, but at the time, what I was doing, I would wake up. First of all, I never woke up earlier than like 9 a.m. Sorry. But to make it to Shanee's call, when I joined Shanee's program, the calls were at 7, and I was like, oh my God, how am I going to
Cali time?
7 California time. And I was like, how am I going to do this? But, and it was January, it was the beginning of the year. I was like, this is my goal this year. I'm going to do it. And it was hard the first week. Second week was hard. Third week, it started to become more of a habit. Fourth week, it just became natural. I'm now up at 7 a.m. every day. Without any issues. But back then, waking up early, that was such a big challenge to begin with. So as soon as I'd wake up, the first thing I'd hear is Shanee telling me, this is what you have to post. So my day started with, all right, this is what I have to do for today. And I think that just made it so much easier because I had direction. So I'd get up, I'm like, okay, how do I do this? Do it, post it, and then do everything that Shanee was telling me, the commenting. And I think I was really building a community as well. It wasn't just post it and forget it. Like, I wasn't posting and ghosting. I was trying to see who's liking my comments, who's commenting. I was getting to know people. I made so many friends, and I got LinkedIn on my phone. Before that, I didn't even have LinkedIn on my phone. So even when I'm in the kitchen, my LinkedIn's open, and I'm like watching, okay, what's happening? And as I'm eating at my desk, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? And I was just learning. I think I was just like a sponge, just absorbing everything LinkedIn. And I had quit everything else: Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. That's what I also mean by I was living, eating, breathing this LinkedIn. I forgot any other platform existed, because I think every platform requires a certain amount of energy and skill set, and you need to learn each one individually. So I gave my full attention to LinkedIn. And because I did that, I was also seeing what's doing well, what's not doing well, what do people like, what do they not like. I was also talking to people. And the thing is, even with that viral post, I think it also went viral because I had made so many friends. And I remember I shared that post this day I posted. I'm like, hey guys, I'm sharing a very vulnerable post. If you can please give me some love on that, please. I posted it, and then later I found out they sent it to their friends, and their friends sent it to their friends. Some of them were influencers. So I think all of that collectively helped my account boost up so quickly because I took the time to build relationships with people, and I'm still in contact with so many people from there.
I know you are very detail oriented, and hearing that you took time to comment, to have relationships with your network, I believe that was also a key factor that I didn't put enough effort into that, right? But so if people want to really get the results to the fullest extent, there's more to this than just posting. There is really caring about the relationships and also about what others do, commenting on others' posts. And that is very often an aspect that people just ignore in this.
Absolutely, because it takes a lot of time. And I think the other thing is you have to be genuine too. You have to genuinely care about people.
Yeah.
You can't fake it. You can't just be like, oh, nice post. Like I would sit there, write 5-6 lines and really tell people what I thought about their post. And I think I was learning at the same time too. Hey, this is what a good post is. Hey, this is what I extracted from this post. If someone's commenting on my post, this is what they're seeing. So I think it was just like, you have to be all in and you have to be genuine about it. You have to like actually care about people, I think. And I think that's one thing that maybe attracted a lot of people to me because I was myself. I wasn't trying to be somebody else. And I think that's what essentially got the right people to me in every way.
A lot of coaches, obviously, whatever social media platform that they use, but especially LinkedIn, they don't understand that by going all in on LinkedIn, they could potentially do master classes, build their email lists like that you have for the rest of your life. So kind of how did you handle the pressure? Because I was there. It's a lot of pressure to post content and to do 1 or 2 master classes a month, to have some master classes that blow up and others where you feel like crying after because they failed and it didn't give the same result and you put in 10 hours of preparation. So talk about that because most people just quit after 1 master class.
Yeah, Shanee, you were there. You got those messages from me in the middle of the night. I'm like, Shanee, what happened? It's not working. This happened. So definitely I had like a lot of panic attacks in between and a lot of doubt. There was a lot of imposter syndrome where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, why would anyone sit here and listen to this? Or why would anyone even want to like purchase my program? So there was a lot of that. And I'm already like, I'm already a little bit of an overthinker, but that did keep me up at night too. And especially the first time, like I was so nervous. And that's the thing I think also that's important. You're going to be nervous. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes, but you have to still do it because you're going to learn from those mistakes. You're going to learn from those failures. You're going to learn from every single thing that you do. So the first masterclass I did was okay. Second one was better. The third one was better. And then after that, it just became second nature. It was just so easy. I just knew exactly what to do. And it just got better and better from there. And also like you tweak as you go. When I look at my first masterclass versus where I am now, the last one that I did, world of a difference, so much better. And I'm so much more proud of the new one. But I think a lot of the times people want everything to be perfect and they don't start because they're like, this isn't good enough. I know I wasn't good enough when I started. There were so many things. My video editing was terrible. How I was on camera was terrible. My lighting, my mic. So all of that came with time. Like it was one thing at a time. Each time I did something, I tried to do it a little bit better every time. So I think people do need to just start. And that's the hardest thing for people. Just put your head down and start, and then everything will come.
You know, sometimes you make me almost want to cry, like just because I'm just so proud of you. You know, I saw the potential in like just seeing you, and I know it hasn't been easy, right? Like I know you've made tremendous sacrifices, and I know the pressure that, you know, I'm not the easiest person. Like I'll push you to almost breaking point. But you just, now it's like effortless, and now you're going into like the second, like Maria 2.0 version of your brand. And I know that a year from now, it's going to be like the sky is the absolute limit for you. And I'm so proud of you and I'm so happy for you. And that's just, I don't know, that's just what I have to say.
But you know, Shanee, I think I needed that. So I think I needed that push. I needed you to tell me, Maria, no, what are you doing? Like I needed you to redirect me. And I think the best thing that I like about myself too, it's like I'll listen and I'll apply because I know you're the professional, you know what you're talking about. And I know that I'm just here to learn and execute. So thank you.
Let's talk about you're welcome.
I know that everyone wants to impact more people on a higher level. Explain to us how your increased reach has allowed you to do that, maybe on levels that you could never reach before.
Absolutely. So I think people have to know who you are. They have to know you exist. And if you're not posting, if you're not online, it's very hard to reach millions of people. There's no way I would have been able to reach 20 people in person if I stood up, you know, somewhere and yelled my story. Even then, I wouldn't have been able to. But writing it, posting it, getting like just 20 million views off of one post alone, it brought the right people to me. It brought so many opportunities to me. Like I was able to tell my story on a bigger platform. Toronto Life magazine reached out to me. I was like, hey, okay, let's sit down. Let's write your story. Tell us what it is. They sent a whole team to me, photographers, makeup artists, ghostwriter. Wow. And something like that is insane, right? So you can't do that if you're not putting yourself out there. So reach is important. People have to know who you are. They have to know what you do and they have to know why you do it. I don't think it's enough to know that, okay, here, because there's so many business coaches, there's so many public speaking coaches. It's like, okay, why do you do what you do? Again, it's that human connection that brings people to you. People have to trust you. No one's going to buy from you if they don't trust you, or no one's going to want your services if they think you're just doing this for whatever reason. But if there's a purpose behind it, then they're like, okay, this makes sense. Like, I want your help.
Do you feel like certain, maybe more advanced clients, you were only able to get them because your profile gave you a certain credibility that otherwise you would not have had before?
Yes. So there's two things here. The first one is that there's a different clientele, and I learned this from Shanee, and I've seen it now on LinkedIn. People want to learn. It's a very different mindset. They want to get better. They want their careers to progress, their businesses to grow. So very different mindset versus TikTok. People want to be on TikTok because they just want to scroll mindlessly, just have fun and not worry about.
That's why I created TikTok, for entertainment, right?
Yeah, entertainment. Whereas LinkedIn, the clientele, it's very different, the completely different mindset. People want to learn, people want to grow. So there's that. And then the other part of it that you're talking about, Shankar, is having a following. It does give you credibility because people know, okay, this person's obviously doing something that so many people are following them. So it's not just a fake account, or it's nothing like not a scam, or, you know, I won't waste my time, my energy, my money on this person because there's some sort of credibility there. So having a following definitely helps. It's not everything, of course, but I do think it makes a huge difference in how people view you online, especially on LinkedIn, because there's not that many creators yet on LinkedIn, and especially with more than 100,000 followers. So it's a huge difference, totally different ballgame on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about what you do. So explain to the audience a little bit about how you help people become better speakers. And I think that this ties into everyone that's creating content on video, doing lives, being a CEO, building a team. We all need to learn how to speak better. So talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. I think one of the best qualities every leader should have is public speaking skills. Because especially nowadays, it's evolved so much. This is a form of public speaking. When you're posting something, doing a live, that's a form of public speaking. When you're in person, on camera, everything is public speaking. And what I essentially do is I help people really dissect their fear, overcome that fear, and be able to confidently speak in front of large crowds or small crowds, be able to do it online, be able to do it offline, present in a way that really gets your message across clearly and concisely, so that you look like a charismatic leader. You look like the type of person that people would want to learn from. So essentially that's what I do. And my focus is really on introverts because I was an introvert. These were the things I struggled with. And I do know that as introverts, we navigate through the world a little bit differently than extroverts. So I think that's what sets me apart, because I help people do it from that perspective. So I'm not trying to change people. I'm not trying to make you copy somebody else. I'm trying to help you be the best version of yourself that you can and still be a confident speaker. So that's what I do. And I love everything corporate, being able to stand up in front of people. I think it's so empowering. And this kind of goes back to my story too. When you stand up, you speak, and people actually listen and understand what you're saying. I think that's what sets you apart. And that's what takes you so far ahead. It's helped me in my career when I was in the corporate world. It helped me with my business. It's helping me with the content creation right now. It helps me communicate with my clients. It helped me with the masterclass, because that was a presentation. So all of these skills, just being able to speak and communicate effectively, helps you in every area of your life. It'll help. Some people have told me, some of my clients, hey, my dating life has become better because now I speak more confidently and I know what to do with my body language. It's the one skill that I would highly recommend everyone should invest in.
What does it look like to start working with you? Is it a consultation? What happens in the consultation, and how can they reach you?
I do have a link on LinkedIn where you just book a call with me. You answer a few questions to make sure that this is something you want and it's something I can help you with. You answer a few questions, set up a time. It's an absolutely free consultation. I like to call it, I've changed it and I call it a speaker mastermind call, because during that call, I really try to understand what your challenges are with speaking. I try to give you as many tips and tricks as I can during the call as well. So you have something to take away from it, because I think everyone's time is valuable. And if you're taking out that hour for me, I want to make sure I'm giving something back to you. So we get on the call, we talk in detail. And if you decide that, you know what, this is a good fit, I like Maria's vibe, I think she can help me. And if I feel like I'm someone that can help you with your goals, then we start working together right away.
I love it. And what would you say to someone that they're like thinking to themselves, I want to start posting, but is it going to be possible for me?
If it's possible for someone like me, like I started from zero. I think when I first opened up LinkedIn, I maybe had like 600-700 followers. And then I actively tried to get to 2,000. And then I was like, oh my God, this is so difficult. But if I can do it, like I'm just a normal person. I was working a corporate job. I lived a very normal life before this too. And I feel like if someone like me can do it, then anyone can do it. But you just have to have the drive. You just have to want it bad enough. That's the only thing. And you have to be persistent, because things don't work a lot of the times. You have to pivot. You have to try something else. I must have failed at least 10 times at something. Like I tried so many different platforms. I tried different types of program. I even had like a Shopify store at one point. I tried so many different things because I was still figuring out what's it like to be an entrepreneur and what are the skills I can actually help people with. So yeah, it takes time, but you just have to be persistent. That you have to want it. You have to keep learning and growing. And that's the only way. I don't see any other way. And now I understand when I look at entrepreneurs, I know that this person went through so much stuff before they got to where they are. I never look at it as, oh, this person just was an overnight success. I don't think there's such thing. I can already see the hard work somebody put in. And the thing is, it's worth it. You have freedom, you have more time, you make more of an income, you help more people, you can travel more. It's really that freedom that you get out of this, which is honestly, it's priceless.
What does your mom think about the transformation? Like, what does your family think?
They love it. My parents and my family, like they all look up to me now. You know, I'm the eldest of four in total siblings, but now it's like they really look up to me. They're like, okay, you've done it. And even my friends, everybody asks me, Maria, help me. Like, how have you done this? And I'm like, yeah, let's sit down, let's do it. But I will say this, not many people do it. I tell them, let's sit down Saturday, let's go through this. They don't show up on Saturdays, or they don't do it. And that's the problem, because people are trying to be too perfect, but you just have to start.
I love it.
The other thing, Shanee, is people pass on opportunities or think, oh, this isn't good enough, or I shouldn't do this. I think one thing I did in the beginning too, almost every opportunity that came my way, I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's see what comes of this, especially in the beginning. Eventually you can be a little bit more selective, but I think in the beginning you have to just be like, okay, this opportunity came to me for a reason. I'll learn something from it and just do it.
I love it. I'm so proud of you.